being able to communicate and getting things off of your chest and being able to tell people how you feel and what you're thinking is a great way to boost emotional health, which in turn will boost your physical health and just your overall health in general, which in turn can help with communication in games to your teammates.
Transmission received. Authorization granted. Welcome to the video.
What's up, dreamers, and happy day. I hope everybody's having a fantastic morning or a fantastic afternoon wherever you're located in the world, and I just want to let you all know that you are awesome. Welcome to Driving and Vibing. What is the vibe today? We're going to talk about communication, chit-chatting with friends, family, teammates, depending on, if you're playing games and stuff and things, maybe chit-chatting, communication with teachers, if you're still in school. Communication is very, very, very important for emotional health, and I would say overall health in general. Your emotional health kind of helps push forward your physical health as well. I've talked about this and I will continue to talk about this. Communication is easier said than done. There's a lot of people who may be shy, right, and not want to, or on the shyer side and maybe unable to talk to certain people, right? Maybe don't know how to communicate and get things off of their chest. I will say that I'm gonna go ahead and tell you right now, I am on the shy side. I always have been. Well, maybe not always, but for most of my life, I've been shy, on the shy side. I always have had difficulty getting things off my chest, telling somebody how I feel, and that's okay. I'm realizing that and I'm learning that. But that's not the only part of communication. Communication could just be talking to somebody, expressing how you feel, letting somebody know, maybe what you're interested in, or if you have a plan, maybe not being afraid to talk about that plan with some person. Let's say you're at work and you have an idea and you want to run it by your manager. You know it's going to be a good idea, but you're afraid to communicate that to them because you don't really know how. Maybe you don't know how to go about communicating it. I think a lot of that is overthinking. I think a lot of what I've done and what I still do is overthinking. I think about what I'm going to say, what I'm going to do, or how I'm going to say it, and I think to myself, what happens if I say it like this? What happens if I say it like that? And the reality of it is that probably doesn't really matter, because I've said this in another video, but your perception of yourself and how it's going to come off is, you're always going to judge yourself harsher than other people do. And for the most part, just be honest, right? If people are honest, they're going to give you honest feedback. And if they think that what you said came off wrong, but especially if they're in a managerial position, they might tell you that. Same with loved ones. They're more than likely going to be honest with you. Your friends will be honest with you. Being able to communicate and getting things off of your chest and being able to tell people how you feel and what you're thinking is a great way to boost emotional health, which in turn will boost your physical health and just your overall health in general, which in turn can help with communication in games to your teammates. And if you're playing a team-based game, communication is key, right, to success. So, which in turn can help you win games. Communication is not just talking about everyday life, but again, it's getting things off your chest. I think this is very important in all aspects of life, not just gaming, but we're going to jump into the gaming. If you're playing with a team, and you are unable to communicate very well, especially if you have teammates who are doing something that may bother you or interfere with your gameplay, if you're not saying that, nothing's ever going to change, right? So then you might just get more and more irritated, and then you're just going to think to yourself, you're going to get more irritated, more angry. You're going to think to yourself, I can't play with this player. But it's not because you can't play with that player. It's because the situation at hand has not been solved because there's no communication, right? So, but if you go ahead and communicate that, if you communicate that with them and they do end up changing, maybe you turn into be pretty good teammates. Maybe you were at one point and it started failing, which means you could be again after you communicate. And maybe you become better teammates, and the communication helps you win rounds, win games, right? But that goes the same for personal life. So let's say you live with somebody, let's say you have a roommate or your family or your significant other, and there's something that just keeps bothering you about them, something that they maybe started doing, and it bothers you, but you bite your tongue on it, and you're just not communicating that to them, and then you start getting irritated and angry, just like in game, and maybe you start building resentment. But all of this can change if you just communicate with them. I communicate with my wife all the time. If something's bothering us, we get it off our chest. We try to do it as quickly as possible, right? In good situations, you don't want somebody having a terrible day and then lay it on them right then. I don't really think that's probably the best idea. Maybe wait. It's acceptable to probably wait until they're having, or in the correct mindset to be able to actually communicate things with them. But talking it through and getting through things is, just being able to communicate. That's one of the best assets I have with my wife, is being able to communicate, right? Communication. Our communication is great. We talk about everything all the time, and we always get stuff off of our chest. And I think that's what is a very good foundation to relationships. Not only relationships, but not only personal relationships, but relationships in game, your teammates, right? So I will say, in the past, when I was playing games competitively, I did, because of my shy nature and I wasn't really practicing communication outside of games. So, especially when I was younger, I'm kind of learning to communicate and talk to people and get things off my chest now, ever since I met my wife some years ago, 5, 6, however many, I don't know. I've been practicing communicating with her, but before that, I never really did that with anybody. So I would just kind of shut down, and when something would bother me, especially in game, I wouldn't say anything. I would just get angry. Sometimes I would just leave the game completely. I would leave for the night, and if you've ever done that, and especially if it's an early night, you know that the rest of the night is shot, right? The team can't really practice. The team can't really get better. You're not practicing. You're not getting better. Now you're in a negative mindset, and you're irritated and angry, which hounds your mental health, and in turn is going to hound your physical health if in the event you do this at night and it keeps you up. You're thinking at night, right? So you're not sleeping well. Maybe you're one of those people who get so angry that you don't get hungry, or you're not hungry, so then maybe you're not actually eating properly. That happens. This is real stuff. But just being able to communicate, getting past that little barrier of, kind of being afraid to get things off of your chest. Look, if people are your friends and family, and and managers, and for the most part, most people in the world aren't going to get upset with you telling them the truth. But there's one thing I've learned, is that telling the truth is significantly better than pushing it off or sugarcoating things. It really is. It truly is. People aren't really going to get overly upset at you. People might get upset, right? They might get upset at maybe the situation, but if you think back on situations where you have told or got something off your chest and you felt better about it, think about how that person on the other side responded. And I'm not saying take the worst experience. I'm saying think back on a good experience. That's probably what's going to happen. the good experiences are usually 9 times out of 10, that's what's going to happen. There are going to be those select few people who are already in, maybe in a bad spot, not having the best mindset. There are going to be those people through your life that just may be unable to accept what you're saying and may get angry or upset about it, and it's not necessarily your fault, right? You got to keep in mind that maybe these people are just not in the right spot. I think about that all the time. I always give people the benefit of the doubt. Maybe something happened. When I go places, even when I'm talking to people just in public, if they seem a little salty that day or upset or angry, it's not, especially if I just met them, it's probably not because of me, right? Something may be going on that I don't know about, that maybe they didn't tell me about, and they could practice some communication, and maybe it would have changed the outcome of our conversation. But I'm not going to get generally offended, especially if it's a friend or family, and you kind of know that maybe they're not telling you something, and maybe something is a little off, and then I say something and add to it. I know it's probably not. I know it's probably not really them starting to dislike me, right? So I think communication is key and can really help, win games, but also improve your health overall. And yeah, let me know if you guys have any if you guys have any tips or tricks that you use for communication and getting things off your chest, and maybe helping with talking to people or teammates. And if you liked the video, I hope to see you in the next ones. Hit that subscribe button if you would like. And yeah, check you later, dreamers.